You've done the math in your head 100 times. The boat's 60 grand, but it's only 400 a month, and 400 a month you can do. That right there, that little swap you just made from the price to the payment, is the exact moment the trap closes, and you won't feel a thing. Americans owe so much on boats they're not even using that there are whole marinas full of them, financed to the waterline, sitting still. A new boat loses up to a quarter of its value in the first year, faster than you can pay it down, which means a huge number of these guys owe more than the boat is worth before the first year's even out. They're underwater on the water. And almost none of them saw it coming, because the whole system is built to keep your eyes on the monthly number and off the one that actually matters. So here's how the boat loan trap really works. Why your boat starts sinking in value the second it's yours, how the dealer and the bank both get paid no matter what happens to you, and the one question that tells you if you're buying a boat or just feeding a loan for the next 20 years. Okay, so start with the loan itself, because the shape of it is the whole setup. Boat loans commonly run anywhere from 10 to 20 years, and the longest ones get handed out on new boats and bigger balances. The reason a 20-year loan exists at all is simple. A boat is expensive, and stretching the payments across more years shrinks the monthly number. That shrinking is the entire sales pitch, and it works because of one trick of attention. You walk in thinking about the price of the boat. You walk out thinking about the payment. Okay, so watch how that switch happens, right? Take a $30,000 boat, finance it over 10 years, and you're looking at roughly $350 a month. Stretch that exact same boat to 20 years and the payment falls to around $260. So the long loan feels like a deal. $90 a month back in your pocket for the same boat. But you didn't make the boat cheaper. You doubled the years, and every extra year is quietly stacking on interest. The salesman isn't selling you a boat, he's selling you a payment small enough to say yes to without thinking. And the longer he can stretch it, the easier that yes gets. Now bring in the second force, the one that turns a long loan into an actual trap. The boat is losing value the entire time you're paying, and it loses it fastest at the very beginning. Everybody knows a new car drops in value the second you drive it off the lot. A new boat does the same thing, only harder. A brand new boat typically sheds somewhere between 50 and 25% of its value in the first year alone. And the industry even has a polite name for it. They call it the new boat penalty. That boat you paid $60,000 for can be worth around $48,000 a year later. And you didn't do one thing wrong. You didn't crack the hull or burn up the power head, you just owned it for 12 months. From there, it keeps sliding. By year 5, a typical boat has given up a quarter to a third of what you paid. By year 10, it's often worth less than half. The drop is steepest early and then it flattens. And that shape matters more than it looks, so hang on to it. A $75,000 boat losing 10 grand or more in its first year isn't a worst case. That's just Tuesday. So, picture two lines moving at once, right? Your loan balance crawls down, the boat's value drops like a rock. The moment the value falls below what you owe, you're underwater. And on a long loan with little money down, those lines don't cross somewhere off in the future. They start out crossed. This is where the trap actually shuts on you. So stay with the math, because the math is the whole con. On a long loan, your early payments are almost all interest. That's just how the loan is built. For the first couple of years, only a thin sliver of each payment touches what you actually borrowed, so your balance barely budges. And those first couple of years are exactly when the boat takes its hardest depreciation hit. Your balance sits still while the value falls off a cliff. That right there is how you end up owing more than the thing is worth. Put real numbers on it. Finance $60,000 on a new boat with little or nothing down. 12 months go by, the boat's now worth about $48,000 after that first year hit. But because your payments were nearly all interest, you still owe close to $58,000. You've made a full year of payments, and you're still $10,000 upside down. You could sell it tomorrow for every dime it's worth, and still owe the bank 10 grand on a boat you no longer have. And it gets meaner if something goes wrong. Say the boat gets stolen or wrecked while you're underwater. Your insurance only pays out what the boat is worth, not what you owe. So the check covers $48,000, and you're still on the hook to the bank for the other $10,000 for a boat that's gone. That exact hole is why a product called gap insurance even exists. There's a whole insurance product invented just to cover the gap this trap digs for you. Here's the part the dealer really doesn't want you thinking about. Follow the money. Once you see who gets paid and how, the whole thing stops looking like a service they're doing you and starts looking like what it is. Start with the loan itself. When a dealer arranges your financing, they often aren't just passing you the bank's rate. They can mark it up. The bank approves you at one rate, the dealer quotes you a higher one, and the dealer pockets the difference as profit on the back end. You think you're getting their rate. You think you're getting their rate. You might be paying extra on every payment for 20 years, so the dealership earns a cut of your interest. Then come the add-ons they pitch at the signing table. After you're already emotionally sold and just want the keys. The extended warranty, the gap insurance we just talked about, the paint and fabric protection packages. Each one gets quietly folded into the loan, so it never feels like real money. Because it's only a few more dollars a month and now you're paying interest on the warranty too. Behind all of that sits the lender, running the best deal in the building. On a 20-year loan, the interest alone can add up to more than the boat cost in the first place. Read that again. Stretch the term out far enough and you hand the bank more than the sticker price, on top of the sticker price. You pay for the boat twice, and the second time you've got nothing to show for it. Shorten that same loan from 15 years down to 8, and you can save something like $16,000 in interest on a $50,000 loan. Same boat, same rate. The only thing that changed was how long they got to charge you. And when you finally get sick of being underwater and go shopping for a different boat, the trap has one last move. The dealer smiles and rolls out what you still owe into the loan on the next one. Now you're financing a new boat plus the leftover debt from the old one, buried deeper from day one of round 2. We've watched this exact play wreck people on cars for years. Roughly 1 in 3 trade-ins shows up already underwater, dragging thousands in negative equity that gets rolled forward and compounds. A boat does the same thing with bigger numbers. So look at the whole board. The dealer makes money on the rate markup and again on every add-on. Then, a third time when you trade the boat in. The bank collects 20 years of front-loaded interest on top. Every player gets paid no matter what happens to you out on the water. Okay, so why do smart, careful people keep walking into this? Because it isn't really aimed at your wallet. It's aimed at your brain, and there are a few specific buttons it pushes. The first one psychologists call the pain of pain. Handing over a big chunk of money hurts, in a real measurable way, and splitting that cost into tiny monthly pieces numbs the hurt. $60,000 stings. $400 a month barely registers. Same money, completely different feeling. And the loan is built to give you the feeling, not the math. The second is anchoring. The dealer gets you fixated on the monthly number as if that's the price. So every decision after that gets measured against the payment instead of the total. Want the bigger engine? That's only $30 more a month. Want the warranty? $20 a month. None of it feels like spending because you've been anchored to the wrong number. And 30 here and 20 there is how a loan quietly balloons. The third is plain old preset bias. The boat is right now, sitting there, gleaming, ready this weekend. The cost is later, spread across a future version of you that today's version doesn't really believe in. The same instinct that makes somebody finance small stuff they could easily pay for is the instinct that gets a guy to sign a 20-year note on a toy he'll be bored with in 5. Buy the fun now, let the future you wrestle the bill. The problem is, future you shows up every single month for 240 months. So how do you stay out of all of it? You don't have to swear off financing a boat. You just have to refuse to play the game on their terms, and it comes down to a handful of moves. Put real money down. 15 or 20% is the cushion that keeps you from starting underwater, and it shrinks the interest stacked on top. Take the shortest term you can actually carry, not the longest one that makes the payment feel good. Because the short term is where the savings live and it gets you to true ownership years sooner. Buy a boat that's a year or 2 old instead of brand new, and let the first owner eat that 15 to 25% new boat penalty while you step in right after the worst of the drop. And at the signing table, when the warranty and the gap insurance and the protection packages come out, know that every one of those is negotiable, and most of them are pure profit for the dealer. The simplest test of all is one question. How long do you actually plan to keep the boat? And is the loan shorter than that? If you'll enjoy it for 8 years, don't sign a 15-year note on it. A boat that's still costing you money long after the fun wore off is the trap fully sprung. And it's exactly how good boats end up shrink-wrapped in a driveway with a loan still hanging off of them. Here's what I want you to carry out of this. The boat loan trap isn't buried in fine print, and it isn't illegal. It's sitting right out in the open, dressed up as a friendly little monthly payment. And it works because everyone's been trained to ask one question. What's it cost a month? The people who never get caught ask a different one, out loud, before they sign. What does this cost me in total? And will I own it free and clear before I stop loving it? The boat is supposed to be the best part of your week. Don't let the loan quietly make it the most expensive part of your life.